It is 9:15.
All right, I'll call the meeting of Admin and Finance Standing Committee for October 28th, 2025 to order. Approve the October 14th meeting minutes.
I move to approve those minutes as written.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Resolution number 3720, fiscal year 24-25 budget amendment. Discussion tonight.
So that was one I just missed. I pulled a report to make sure I got all of them. Yeah, that one was, it was an audit adjustment for year end. It's capitalizing engineering, costs in that fund for the,
There were, what,
remember
three
for what-
things?
for, what's that?
There were 3 adjustments? Trying to
Just
remember.
one, for the current one that's in, for discussion. There was just the one fund that I missed when I did all the other ones
Oh.
last week.
Ah,
So, it's just another cleanup thing. I just missed it on the previous round of funds.
Okay. All right. Looks like it's just up for discussion tonight. Is that correct? Or okay. All right. Authorize Rosage Area Community Foundation to prepare the Montana Main Street grant. This is up for action tonight, and I see Tracy and back here. Do you guys want to speak to this at all? Or just...
yeah, and I don't even know where to start.
Okay. Well, at our last meeting, I don't know, Kat might have told you, we talked a little bit about, the city being more involved. I know that I get the email and Dave gets the email, but I've never actually actively participated
What
in,
email do you get?
from, Bill Foisey on the numbers and stuff like that.
That's
on the
a
reporting.
That's a different issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
There's
there's,
two things that you should probably have on your agenda for tonight that's missing, is this application where we're requesting if we can apply, so that we get that clarity, because it takes, a while to build an
Right.
application.
I think that
And
is,
then the other piece of it is being a member of the Main Street community and
Right.
organization, and establishing some actual rules in place that Main Street's
right,
requiring.
and we did talk about both of those at our last admin and finance meeting and at the council meeting. And I believe the Main Street grant, is on for action tonight.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, we were going to address the steering, being part of the
And-
committee, the main.
and land use and planning is actually taking care of that for the Main Street program.
Okay,
And so basically, what they have as an action item is 2 separate things. One is just a resolution of support for Red Lodge continuing to be part of that program. And then they're having a separate conversation about what's the city's involvement in that.
no,
I'm pretty sure we might have that flipped.
yeah,
Because we had this discussion last night at land use,
That's what I'm
and
talking about, yeah.
what I'm talking about is how we just said that we're deferring this to the admin and finance committee, because it makes more sense for how that's going to be managed.
You're talking about the record keeping, the reporting?
Yeah,
The reporting.
exactly, like that involvement.
be more actively involved.
Yeah.
Because we have not been in the record keeping and that part of it.
Yep.
And coming up with the,
Yeah,
But to Mary Beth's point, that's a separate issue than the.
it
the
is,
grant.
yeah,
They
but,
tie- They
I-
tie together, and they have to be completed before November 14th to be able to submit an application
Okay.
on time.
okay,
Is what I'm saying, and I can help guide you through that. There's
Okay.
actually an entire handbook on the Montana Main Street website.
yeah.
What has to be done by the
You-
what's
have to
the
have-
second part?
You have to have your Main Street, Montana Main Street organization, authorization completed, and there's 4 requirements that you have to have to submit with that piece as well. And that is, so if you go in there, you'll see the Montana Main Street Program Guidelines. You wanna look at that. And there's 4 things that have to be done for this year. Submit an annual work plan, which can just look at meeting quarterly to complete those reports with your committee. Submitting your boundary map, identifying the downtown revitalization area, which you had in your downtown master plan.
Okay.
And then you need to send board members or staff members to a minimum of 3 MMS network meetings, conferences, or training annually. Bill, myself, and Kat have attended those online, so
Okay.
it's not one in person. So that moving forward, they're gonna give us, a some leeway this year, just because it's a new requirement. And then you have to provide information for monitoring the progress of the local program and submit quarterly updates, and those are your quarterly reports.
Yeah, and those are the emails I get
Yes.
from Bill,
So
yeah.
it's been very loosey-goosey now.
We need to tighten it up.
Tracy's here, she can speak to the history of the Montana Main Street as far as Red Lodge is concerned and how that was developed, because she was a big part of that. The Community Foundation was the original applicant for that, wrote the grant for it,
Was this because we were part of the Main Street when
to
it?
become part of the Main Street.
Okay, because we were part back in,
The Chamber, the city, and the Red Lodge Area Community Foundation partnered together to do that
Right.
application.
so I know that we were part back in like 2007 and 8 when the EDC, group,
Yeah, that was the group
That we were
created
one of the
transition.
yeah, we were one of the pilot, Main Street programs, and we had, Beth Hutchinson was our director for the Main Street program back then, but then I think we let it go.
Mhm.
And so then you guys stepped up and got it back.
Yeah, when the Economic Development Corp was moving into closing,
Yes,
then we were convening the community with a lot of different partners represented in that meeting about, did we need an Economic Development Corp in the community?
Right.
And they kind of decided not that, but we did want to be, Tosh Weismiller came from the state and presented what we'd have to do to remain a Main Street community. And so everybody took a part of that application. I don't remember if you had a part, but Marcella, there were several of us because we only had like a week to get it in
right.
to remain a Main Street community. And so since then, it's been a relationship mainly with the planners for the city of, hey, planning, do you guys have a project that qualifies for Main Street? If they don't, then the foundation finds a project so that we continue to stay in the hopper and bring those funds to Red Lodge.
Yes,
And so what I would like to see is whatever way the city wants to handle those now with, not having a planner or whatever, who can be this group that's doing this evaluation and following through on all the paperwork that's required, that Mary Beth's been doing for a long time to make sure that we can stay
Thanks, Mary Beth.
eligible for those
Yeah.
funds.
And a big piece of that is we used to meet with the planner. There would be a group of us, the chamber, the community
Right.
foundation, and the planners in the city. And we meet together and we go through and go, what projects are eligible? What's shovel ready? Because that's what these programs are about.
Right.
You can't just go, oh, there's a grant available, let's create
Yeah.
a project for that.
Right.
You can't have the project ready.
Yep.
And they're making those rules stronger just to do just that. Now, we haven't been able to do that for 2022. And so this is the first time that we're ready to write a new grant and apply. This process that we have to go through is we need to get permission from the city to be a subrecipient. That's what I thought was gonna happen at the last meeting. Now, there was a request to have a full entire grant application prepared for you in a week to make it into your packets. That's not realistic.
I don't think that
Can I,
way.
can I jump in? You're saying this has to be done by the 14th?
Yes.
No, Purple?
The application is due on the 14th.
Okay, so let's call a timeout. If I go back historically and I look at these, kind of resolutions that we've done in the past. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Red Lodge to approve and support the application for a grant with there's sort of a template that we've got, and I remember doing those on council as well. That is to say, here's the application, we've looked at it, and here it is. We don't have that this time, and what I heard is, well, we're not putting any effort into it until we know it's okay.
No, that's not it at all, Dave. I'm gonna interrupt you on that because
Okay.
that's absolutely incorrect. Nobody's ever submitted a full application for approval through resolution. What you do is you go and ask, can we be a subrecipient? Once we know that we can be a subrecipient, then we will do the application.
Yeah.
So you can't expect an organization, especially nonprofits, to expend those funds for somebody to do a complete application that takes 20-plus hours, plus all the attachments and the letters of support that you need to gather in that time,
I agree.
and build a budget. That's a lot
Yep.
of work that you're asking them to do.
So let me jump in and counter that. So we don't have that resolution, so we can't approve that tonight because it's not in the packet. What do we need to do tonight with what's on there? Just say, I move to support the foundation filling out that grant and understand that next time we will have a resolution approving them as a subrecipient. Does that give you the level of confidence that you have to fill that out? Because I thought we had given you that level of confidence last time. Clearly, we have not, because the effort hasn't begun yet, is my understanding.
we need to know that we're going to be able to be the subrecipient. If we know that we can be a subrecipient and that grant's gonna be submitted, that's gonna be signed, so that we can submit it, then we'll go ahead and do that work.
Okay, I thought we did that last time. We clearly did not meet the threshold. We cannot actually approve a resolution tonight that doesn't exist yet because it's not in the packet. What
But-
does my action tonight need to look like so you say, yes, we can go
Dave,
spend that 20 hours?
On our agenda tonight, we have an action item to authorize the Red Lodge Area Community Foundation
Yeah.
to prepare the Montana Main Street grant.
And we
But-
can do that, but that does not say anything about a subrecipient, and that's not we don't have a resolution yet.
That's what a subrecipient is, it's just language.
So,
To prepare.
I mean, if we pass the action tonight that we authorize you to prepare the Main
That
Street
means we're a
grant,
subrecipient.
Yeah.
then, I mean, we're
Okay.
saying, yeah, go ahead.
As a subrecipient, and
Yeah,
then we know.
yeah, we
when-
could add that.
So
to it.
here's, Mary Beth, what I need to get from you, and you've been on council before, and so you understand this, what I need is the form of what that motion needs to say tonight, because we don't have a resolution. So I move to authorize, RLACF to prepare a Montana Main Street grant and be a subrecipient.
Perfect.
We could,
Just
Okay.
give your own motion.
That's-
I shouldn't have to write your motion for you.
okay,
So-
well,
Okay, as
I
long
will
as that'll
do
work.
it.
Because I'm not on council.
I know, I'm okay with that. But I'm saying, I thought we had already done that last time, and so,
I listened to your meeting twice,
Okay.
just to see if I missed that. You
Okay.
did not come forward with that. You guys jumped right.
may
Discussing
I
that
write that
to
motion
the main
and
street
get it to you
organization.
for approval before it goes tonight, so we don't
I should.
foul it up?
As long
Okay,
as,
never mind.
hey, wait,
We'll
wait,
give it our
stop.
best stab and
Hey,
hope like hell it works.
stop, okay, stop. Tonight at the meeting, we will vote to authorize Red Lodge Area Community Foundation to prepare Montana Main Street grant and be the subrecipient, okay?
Does that work?
As a subrecipient, okay, then
As
that'll
a
work,
subrecipient.
and that'll work, okay? So, and then we'll move on.
Sorry.
We'll do that tonight. I mean, that's up for action, not a problem. I mean, it was pretty much decided, everyone was okay with it last time.
Mhm.
I have no doubt that it will pass.
Yeah.
We should be fine. As to the other, that we had been talking about was actually the city being more actively involved, because like you say, we do not have a planner that has been involved with this for the last couple of years. Like I say, I've been getting the emails from Bill Foisey, and I didn't really know what to do with them. And I know that the email got sent out this last time for me and for Chelsea.
Mhm.
And, one or both of us, I'm sure, will try to be at that meeting so we can have some city input and help. And if we need to, so we know what's going on and we can help more, since we don't have that planner involved, you
So
know.
would it be this committee that's gonna be more involved on this Main Street going forward? or-
I think,
I think so.
There has
Yeah.
to be an actual board organization put together.
Oh,
for
okay.
that.
right, yeah, and we would have a representative on that board is what we would do,
Yeah,
correct?
You guys
Yeah.
are great. You can be the lead of that.
Yeah.
That should be the case.
Yeah, and, you know, I love, you guys have been doing an amazing job. I know Bill and you and the chamber, you know, Sherry's been involved some too. And I just want, us to all be more, you know, helping if we're going to, you know, since we haven't been for the last couple of years. That was our main point of the conversation the last time. So, that would be, so let us know, you know, do you want us to have representatives at that meeting, you know, Chelsea and I, if we can make it?
No,
And,
you guys should be there.
okay,
Yeah.
It would be
okay.
best- It would be
'Cause
best
we're-
to make sure that you both are there, or
Yep.
whoever
Okay.
you need. That was the email I sent out last week for Kat, because she's just so overloaded, she doesn't.
right, and I
Yeah.
completely understand that. I mean, I think we can
Coordinated.
definitely make our way through.
No, more
through
than
this.
likely, I'm not gonna be on that, it's gonna be Kat or Bill or something.
Okay.
like that, if Bill wants to take over.
Okay. I mean, it's done great things for the community. We've, you know,
Absolutely.
gotten a lot of,
Out of curiosity, what projects have you highlighted for the Main Street program?
For this round?
Yeah.
We only worked on ours, when we worked with the planner before, then we would talk about all the different projects. And I know in your last meeting, you guys talked about Price Park. I don't know exactly what your plan is for that, but that's the kind of stuff that would be discussed.
Yeah,
There's a
You can
budget,
identify different things like that with the
Right,
for
and-
Parkwood.
and what they're doing is they're doing a facelift to Hyde Park, and it's what, $70-some thousand,
like
$82,000.
$82,000 for
So-
Hyde Park, and it's gonna be coming out of resort funds. So it would be nice if Main Street could,
Yeah,
And again, I think we missed so it sounds like to me, just to kind of summarize and create direction.
thank you.
Sounds like what we need to do now is get that action passed this evening, which is on our
number
on our
one.
agenda, so we're all good there.
Yep.
Then we need to meet with the foundation, other members, and establish an actual committee, similar to like how we have a Parks Board and an Urban Renewal District with a city committee that is elected through the city. And
As,
then,
well, we have our representative on it, yes.
and we'll have a representative on it, but again, I think it has to be something that is like Parks Board or the Urban Renewal District. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, something like that.
It could be, or it could be more grassroots like we used to do it.
Okay, see, I
With the
prefer
foundation.
grassroots on this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
so-
grassroots is that we agree that there's some sort of partnership. You guys are basically the applicant,
Yeah.
but the foundation could convene the community, including the city, about any projects that might be eligible for this Main Street and talk through them and decide, it's up to council or this committee to
Yeah.
decide which one should be able to go forward.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
yeah,
And-
again, I'd much rather keep it grassroots, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, I
if we
don't,
could make
I
it more
don't
official or
necessarily
not.
want the city
I-
in charge of it.
I
I like having, city representation on it.
Yeah, I think that's what
More,
it needs to get
yeah.
back is to that roundtable, which
Yeah.
is how we became a Main Street community. is
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody had time, including the city, and everybody took a part of the application, boom, got it out
Right.
of there.
When it first started, it was all the Red Lodge Area Community Foundation, and I love that.
Who may no longer want to keep doing those stats, we're gonna have to identify someone to do those so we remain eligible for Main Street funds.
Yeah,
So, Mayor,
he actually goes door to door for businesses.
I know he does. Come to the market, I know.
Okay,
To make
come
sure
on.
you're
Love
getting
Bill,
access.
man.
I know.
What?
I just love Phil.
I know.
So just for note keeping, real quick, just so I can keep this on track and have this in my brain, and I want it written down. So we need to establish a committee to maintain the reporting.
Quarterly reporting.
Well, there is a
We need-
committee now, correct, but we want to,
Yes, for you.
It's,
Oh,
we
yeah,
need to
okay.
reformalize it, I think.
Yeah.
okay,
That's
so
something that
reformalize
we
the
all
committee.
We need to be
We
going.
were on autopilot for a while the city was doing its thing, and so it's time to come
Okay.
back in together.
Yep. And then on that note, we need to be attending meetings regularly as well.
It'll
The-
be once a year usually.
Quarterly. is
Yeah,
the
it's got-
work plan.
Quarterly
Yeah.
for the,
Because it's a
report.
quarterly report, isn't it? So
And
you,
that-
you'd want to get together at least quarterly to
Yeah.
file that report.
And then you should have maybe one meeting where you go over, like, what projects in town might be identified that would be.
Okay.
that would be once a
Or
year.
report.
Yeah,
So
you
a
might do that.
quarterly meeting for reporting and
Yep.
then an annual meeting, for projects.
Project evaluation or prioritizing or whatever.
Okay,
We need to sign off on this, the city needs to sign off on,
Resolution.
a resolution, but isn't there also an agreement that the city needs to sign? That agreement
Yeah,
right there,
yeah.
yep, so,
What we have
we need-
to, so with this one, Nikki Zerber, she's the head of the Main Street program at the state. I find her email real quick.
and I
She
think,
stated that whoever signs this is going to be getting this email moving forward
okay,
for the renewal and stuff, so I don't know who do you want that to be?
oh boy.
If that
So
ends up being
fortunate.
someone in the city, then we have to make sure we're getting that over
As
to
well.
us, or we'll get out of the loop and then.
Yeah, I think I would rather, if the foundation doesn't mind maintaining that, I think that makes more sense.
I think it's a good sweet spot.
You guys get the
well,
information and then.
you have, I mean, people at the city, especially council change, so you don't want
Right,
getting
yeah.
lost in someone's old email
Well,
that is no
someday,
longer
Mayor,
active.
and I will change, but it's probably a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Never.
How often do we have to reapply?
So this member agreement that's doing now, you have to do it annually.
State.
And we need
Okay.
to do that by the 14th.
Yeah.
And
And
you
then
have-
we get a copy of this.
You have to realize, we used to be able to apply twice a year,
Yeah.
and before that, they also had a year where they had a ton of funds after the competitive grab at a certain time, so
Yep.
somebody paying attention to that, that's in the.
That's in our
makes
packet.
sense for the community.
Yep.
And, so that has to be signed once a year, and we have to sign it by November 14th
Well, this one does
Submit
have
it.
to be done by November 14th.
for this
So that was
participation.
that was my question. So at the next meeting on the 11th, that needs to be up for action
Yes.
for the
Yes.
council. But that was included in the packet, right? The
It was.
So
Okay.
tonight, mention that so that there's not an issue with it going above the pool and
Right.
make sure it gets done.
Okay,
That was my
resolution,
You guys have most of the things that need to be done, there's a whole checklist there,
okay,
and it's with that.
Okay.
And you have most of that with your updated downtown master plan.
okay,
And we'll get this work into our strategic plan and the calendar when we can and get in that committee together, so it'll be
Okay.
formalized in the community foundation.
So we
okay,
don't miss something.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
one thing I need to know for clarity, so I will have a full application needed for your November 11th meeting.
we won't,
But
because
you
we're
need to
approving
write
it.
the resolution on the 11th as well.
for this,
No, for the application that we're gonna be submitting.
but I don't know
I
that
think we're
we,
doing that tonight, aren't we?
I don't think we need that, do we?
I think it's a
um,
good idea. We do resolutions for everybody else when we do these
Okay.
grants. So,
So we're going to authorize them to apply, and then we'll actually have a formal resolution then?
Yep.
Okay,
On the 11th.
And
on the
get it
11th,
up.
okay,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I wanted clarity, is like,
Okay.
when we come to you and say, and we be the recipient, and you say yes, then we'll go ahead and write the application.
Based on that, but a resolution to firm it up.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
can sign the past
yeah, I was gonna say, we do it all the time, like, that's an easy
so
one.
you don't have to
the
you don't
template.
have to write the resolution?
So in theory, with the robust committee that's gonna be moving forward with this, they may come to you, the council then, and there's 2 or 3 priority projects that's gonna end up being the decision, you
Yeah.
know, of the committee, of the city council.
I would rather it be the committee's decision.
Well, we'll come up with the most forward one, but there could be, you know, some years 2 or 3 wanna apply, like, we deferred to the
Okay.
city when you guys needed a Main Street planning grant, back when James and everything was around
Right.
here. And so we'd be like, oh, we're not gonna apply this time, James needs to take it for the city, so
Yeah.
just, I don't know how you want those nuances to play out.
I think the committee should maybe come up with some type of scoring system, and,
Oh, okay.
and so they can recommend it.
Perfect.
You know,
Yeah.
what's gonna be the biggest,
And
you
then
know,
you can just get with Lonnie if there's something coming for the city that they might want to
Yeah.
do with your other planning contractors or.
And I think that's something that the city staff that will be on that committee will be bringing that forward.
Okay.
Like, that will be their
Perfect.
responsibility, not so much Lonnie, she doesn't have to.
because I don't want it to be so subjective that it's the city council picking
Yeah.
it. You know, I think it'd be nice to have, just like you do with any other grant application at the community foundation, do some type of scoring system. So
Yeah.
Okay.
that I don't know, unless you have a different idea.
No, that was great for
Okay.
us. We can easily implement our scoring system, so.
And then the only reason I didn't respond to your email, Maribeth, is because you wanted to have it here, and I don't know how that works. So I was gonna ask Lonnie while we're here,
So what?
having a
that was
meeting here next week.
The second question.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't know if it was available on the Tuesday.
I don't either, so.
Yeah, Tuesdays are good, other than council meeting Tuesdays, because they.
And resort tax, but we don't have resort tax.
No. And
So-
so, yeah,
so what
Tuesday
time-
the 4th, right?
I'm sorry?
Tuesday the 4th?
I think
Tuesday the 4th.
anytime.
There's no court
There's
going
no
on that
court.
day or anything like that, okay?
Or Jody said sometime either before or after, somewhere around lunchtime.
Yeah, I mean, I can always take an early lunch and, or a late lunch, whatever, or lunch, you know, whatever you guys want, or if you do it at night, I'm fine too, so whatever works for you guys.
I am currently open, just as long as I get it in the book, I can do it.
What's meeting gonna be? It's gonna be about the Main Street organization.
Oh, that's right. Let me look on the board real quick. You guys can go on without me.
Okay. All right,
I think that's.
all right.
Yeah, and I have it.
Okay, well, Chelsea, if you and I volunteer to go to the initial meeting,
Yep.
and then, you know, we can,
Figure out how we wanna
Yeah,
assign that.
any of
Yeah.
these times work for me, Maribeth, so whatever works for
Okay.
you guys.
Right, so you guys call it, what time?
Jody, you call it, because I'm something flexible.
November 4th.
I'm good if you wanna do like 11, or,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
11 a.m. in the book.
All right,
Right.
here. Excellent,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes.
There we
I'm
go.
excited to get this all formalized, I'll let Bill know too.
I know, he'll be happy.
If we get a committee going, he might find an exit strategy.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Wow.
What?
Terry Weaver will be here as well.
Not that I
Yes,
will let
he's
him,
leaving
but
on the
he's also
5th.
back on our board.
Lucky girl has taken vacation. My gosh,
I know.
She has deserved it.
I am too, yes,
Boy.
okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks
All
for
right.
helping
Yes.
with the flow of money.
Yes, thank you,
Woo.
thank you guys, and,
Thank you.
Thanks for clarity.
Yeah. I thought, yeah, thank you for clarity. I thought we were like, oh, we're good.
I know.
All
Thank
right,
you.
see you guys later.
All right, bye. Okay, so for that amendment, I just want to make sure I have, that, motion tonight, did you write down the wording for that motion
I
tonight?
did.
You did? Okay, do you want to make that motion
I
tonight?
can do that.
Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you very much.
Like, I can,
But I just I didn't quite,
I can,
trying to,
anyway, yeah.
got a little sidetracked there, so.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so next.
Next up.
Yeah, where are we? I'm so confused. Okay, no, I'm not in resort tax. Where am I?
Resolutions to support petition for
Oh,
annexation
that's
to the
right.
rural fire district.
Do we have that resolution yet? And,
Tom was gonna redo it, and I have not seen a.
And the mayor says he hasn't done it yet, so.
okay, well, then that's that.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have on my agenda to move or cancel November 11th city council meeting.
Yeah, I think they took that off because
Good.
we're gonna talk about it,
Tonight.
or we're not canceling it, right? We're gonna just have it, so.
It's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Westwood.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna make you work, okay.
Just so you know, I will not be at the next admin meeting, though.
That's okay. Oh, that's all right. Okay. So, the next thing I have is update the short-term, rental annual meeting. I will give this to you since you're here, and, this is just our updated stats for the short-term rental, that we need to plug in, I guess, to our, that Danae gave us. She was nice enough to give us this stuff, so that we can, update our presentation. I think it's just gonna be mainly plugging in the data.
The new data.
What she gave us. The new data, yeah, so, and I don't know if there's anything new that, Sandy suggested, I don't know if the software can do it or not, but the actual number of nights, rental nights that we have, does that
Oh,
software?
sure, good.
I don't know, we're having issues with that software, so we gotta figure out the bugs in the support.
Okay.
Is there any way that I can just pay you for all mine and then, like, that way it's not just sitting in my account burning a hole?
Yeah,
Because I haven't been able to register any of ours.
yeah,
Oh.
the name of the whole software thing, so we need to have some conversations, or try to get a hold of people, and have conversations with.
Yeah,
The other question is, what are we gonna do about Chateau Rouge?
well, that's what we're talking about here
In
in
the
our business
registration.
registration ordinance, that's next on our list, so.
But they also, if they're gonna be, short-term rentals, if the owners decide to do short-term rentals, they would be doing it themselves.
Right,
Or they would hire someone
Yeah.
to do
They-
it for them.
they'll be
It's not
counted
gonna
in
be
here.
an on-site manager anymore,
Right,
basically.
yeah,
So they'll
so
just be like a normal person.
But there is someone on site.
not 24 hours a day, though.
No, she has a job, but she's in
Yeah, no,
town.
the only,
Who's that?
She's available, Tammy.
So she lives there,
She's living in the manager's apartment.
and then she's managing the HOA, just like,
She's
But-
managing the HOA and maintaining the grounds. But during their HOA meeting, the question that they asked her was, can you be my person? That I need to have somebody, that responds
Oh.
in 24 hours? And she said, sure.
okay. So she's just gonna be the emergency contact.
She'll be the emergency contact.
so that's different, because she's not actually managing the short-term rentals.
No, she's not
So-
going to manage.
So that's what we'll have to discuss in our next thing, the business
Yeah.
registration.
And I don't know
ordinance,
how
so.
many of those, Chateau Rouge people went with short-term rentals?
Right now, the way everything is written, everyone individually will have to register,
Correct.
and then they will fit whether or not they're with a property manager or they're doing it themselves. They'll just fit into these guidelines,
Into those categories.
into those categories. That's the way it's written right now,
And during
that's the
meeting,
way.
one guy says, I'm gonna go down, first thing on Monday and register for a short-term rental.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know, if he
So-
did, and if there were others that did as well.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so, and those would all be in, next year's, because it's after September first, so.
Yep.
But they would absolutely just follow these normal guidelines. They're no longer considered a hotel motel.
Yep.
Anymore.
Yeah, they're not excluded from this.
Right, exactly, because they changed their bylaws. So,
So is this right? We've had 3 complaints?
yes,
I'm not surprised.
yeah, and one of them,
Only 3.
I know.
well, and one of them,
I think last year we had 7.
yeah. And one of them was lights on outside and inside 24/7, which is
Yeah.
not against the law.
Any rules?
So,
No, and again, we get calls for that quite a bit, like just guests, because that's the thing, is a lot of these guests are coming from other places, they wanna leave the exterior lights on. So that
And we
way,
hate that.
again, bears, you know,
Yeah.
coming in late from the bars at night, whatever that is, or where they're from, that's a security thing, where
Yeah.
most
Right.
places are requested to leave their lights on
well,
throughout
and
the
if you
night.
don't know the property, you don't know where the stairs are. I mean, I turn my yard light on if the boys are out, you know, if Sean's out late, or Donnie will turn it on when I'm coming home late.
Yep,
Yeah, we do the same.
Absolutely, I mean, that's what they're for.
yeah.
They better, I mean, we can't outlaw
Yeah,
people
triple
leaving
fault.
their yard light on.
And then like interior lights, you know, that generally, in our situation, that happens just from guests not actually showing up. Because when we go, and not everybody does this, a lot of people don't, but like we go and pre-check every property and turn all the lights on, turn the heat on, make sure everything's working, you know, and so that way when they get there, they can see and,
They don't
but-
have to try to find the switches.
yeah, but there's sometimes where they just don't show up and
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like, okay, lights got left on for 2 days
I know.
and sorry.
So,
neighbors will call and we'll go turn it off, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
so all we need to do with this is update the presentation.
Yep.
And,
Do we know what our percentage is now, our total? Is that in here?
Yeah, that was what I had asked. There was no percentage.
well, we have 1,981 dwelling units,
Okay.
and we have 208 total short-term rentals. So,
9.8%, I think
Yeah,
is what
so-
I figured out, which is
Yep.
identical to last year,
No,
no, it's lower. We were at 10.
10.4.
was it?
Yep, yep. So it has gone down, you
It'll
know.
probably go down again,
Yeah.
Then-
because their tax bill.
But the number of short-term rentals, total number actually went up a little bit, but our number of residents went up higher than our number, you know, so it did.
I love that the resort tax collections are included.
Yeah, I mean, we did include that, we included all of this information in our last, presentation, and I have out there the PowerPoint, you know,
Right. I
so we
saw
can
that.
edit it, you know, the editable, version, so,
Yeah, I love that.
So, we can work on that, don't know.
Went up over 250 dwellings.
So if you like,
Roughly.
if anyone wants to volunteer to update that, or if anyone enjoys making graphs and stuff. And pie charts and
I do love pie charts.
do the pie
I
charts.
love pie.
Pie charts. I don't mind updating, the numbers and stuff, but I'm a little
1981.
sketch on the.
Do you wanna send it to me?
Sure. I thought I had done that, but I will,
I think you have, just so that way it's at the top.
yeah.
I don't clean my council inbox quite like my
I
other business
don't
inboxes.
I don't either. I just stick them all in there,
Oh,
and then
there,
search.
yep, it's a lot of searching.
Forward, okay.
Oh.
So, but I think there's a lot of great information, you know, and if anybody thinks of anything else they want to add that we may be able to do so, then we will do it. Okay,
So under your type 2 licensed professional, is that somebody who holds a state certificate as a property manager?
yes,
Yep.
absolutely. So, yeah,
Sean has a state certificate for,
Yep, he would count for professional.
Type 2.
our short term is outside city limits, so.
right. And,
Yep.
and we have talked about that being a question on the business registration when they're applying for a short-term rental is, do you hold that? Because, you know, we have our professional managers who we all know do, but there are quite a few
And I'm not sure, but
individuals
the
that hold it.
state keeps moving the ball on threshold for needing a state license.
Do they? I think it's always been 5 from what I remember, but,
Sean was, because that's the reason we got into it, I gotta take this call.
Yep. So we will.
okay. So registration ordinance.
Hello.
Yeah, so we can just kind of go into that.
What are we actually amending here?
It's,
Looks
it's been
somewhat like a
slaughtered.
rewrite.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rewrite. So, just for a little bit of history, and Lonnie can help with this as well. We started this, 2 years ago, basically?
We did, yeah.
Has it been 2 years? I thought it was like 3.
2, because I've only been on council for 2.
I know.
I know we started it before you got on council.
I think you guys did, but yeah, we started it like right after I started on council.
We'll go with 2.
Yeah. So essentially what it was is we needed to update it for, one, answering a few of the questions, or specifically changing it from licenses to registrations to be
Right.
legal.
Right.
And then 2, there was some questions with the STRs in terms of there's transferability, what do we do with the Chateau Rouge, what do we do with like parcel versus dwelling, there's just a lot of cleanup that needed to happen from the original ordinance.
Yeah, there was gray areas, and then there was also conflicting stuff between STR stuff and business registration stuff, so
Yep.
it was trying to make everything.
So basically, we
Put
crossed
together.
off 1, 2, and 3, and then rewrote them.
Which one are
one
you
are you
looking
on?
at right now?
Are you on the short-term rental? You're
Yeah.
on the short-term rental one, okay.
The
Yeah.
ordinance,
The ordinance.
963?
3.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, let's
it-
use
it-
numbers, this will make it a lot easier.
It looks like section 1 was removed and rewritten.
Yep,
Section 3, how did we get, whatever.
section
It just
2
looks like we
was,
wiped it out and then started, and then rewrote.
yeah, section 2, I think, went away because it was about, and I'm pulling it up right now, because I have about 18 different working docs on this.
So, no, section 2 is still there, but it's now section 1. Section 1 we crossed out,
Oh, and so then it was renumbered.
Yeah,
right.
So the new section 1
yep,
was the old.
section 2. Yeah, so section 1, in addition to all state and federal, the city requirement to obtain a business registration or license, the city requires either an EIN, so that's something that we were putting within, and that's where a lot of this got slashed, is it's not actually going away, it's just going into the business registration ordinance.
Right.
So then that way, this, what we were making and the intent was that 963 was specific to the cap.
Right.
And then all of the stuff in terms of business registrations, like, this is what you need to do, this is how they're gonna be.
It doesn't need to be in the ordinance.
It doesn't need to be in the ordinance. It's gonna be in the ordinance 907, so it'll still be included, so.
Right, because every business in town has to have some type of
Yeah.
tax ID number.
And then that way, when
Social security
someone
number.
is going to register, it's all in one location and they're not looking at 2 different ordinances to
Correct.
figure out what they need. And so this one will be in terms of like, this is how many ordinances we have, or not how many ordinances, this is how many registrations we have, and that way this can also fluctuate without changing 907.
Right.
But if you have any questions about business registration, it will be in 907.
The other thing that I've always kind of struggled with is this EIN number.
Mm-hmm,
That's an employee
mm-hmm,
identification number.
yep.
If in fact, Sean, who
Well,
has his,
You still have a federal EIN number, whether or not it's your social security number or your, an actual.
EIN is employee.
I know, but businesses, you still,
It's the SSN as well, an EIN or an SSN.
More so, that I think is more important than the EIN, and again, to me, I'm just not trying to dig up too much on this, because that's the only reason I intended to leave the EIN in there, but specifically having, a lodging facility tax, or
Tax
you,
ID?
the LFT, that is what's more important to me, because that shows that you're paying the state taxes for lodging.
Then I,
Hmm.
mm,
See, a tax in accounting, I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying, an EIN and a tax ID number are basically interchangeable in accounting. It's either or. I mean, you have one or the other.
one or the
Yeah.
other, but we're saying you only have the one. And that's where I've always kind of said, not everybody has an EIN because they're an individual person who's,
And here it doesn't have that. The city hereby requires either an employer or an EIN
Yeah.
or an LFT, or LFT. So,
okay.
again, to me, it's I personally don't think the EIN is necessary. I think the LFT is. But that's also, I don't want to,
Well, if you're renting your place out short-term, you have to have an LFT, don't you?
yeah.
So just,
And that's why I'm like, that's really all that matters to me.
then just scratch the EIN, because we don't care if they're paying their federal taxes, or their,
For
you
the
know.
state taxes.
We just want them to be registered, right?
And that's
with
the thing,
state.
is if, you know, if I'm not an employer, because a lot of our property owners, they just have their social on there for
Yeah,
their remittance.
Exactly.
Like,
That's why I always had a problem with the EIN, is they use their social.
yeah.
So, but we've
I'm fine with
scratched
it.
that whole thing anyway, and we're putting it over into
907.
907, right?
Yep, so I'm gonna
So-
pull up 907
And make sure that's in there.
Yep. Hold
I'm
tight
sorry,
here,
this is
kid.
gonna be like just going through this piece by piece, I guess.
Yeah,
make
it's
sure we're not
literally, I'm
missing
just gonna
anything.
have them side by side, and then that way,
Do you wanna share them up there, or is it gonna be too small?
do that next week.
Okay.
Or no, I guess we could do it this meeting. I just have to log in, and we're kinda running out of time.
We are.
I can come sit in your guys' laps and you can just see what I'm doing.
Okay, so where would we put,
6-3, trying to find the right, first amended draft 2. So many versions, wait, that's 963.
I'm just pulling up what you, like, sent us, the
Right.
last one you sent us.
That's what I'm doing too.
Yeah,
Full person,
red line, zoning,
office person, permit.
here we go, I think it's this one.
Temporary.
Yeah, 'cause there was, again, I have like 10.
Mhm.
Okay, so going down to,
Sponsors, multiple business owned, property management companies and holding companies.
vendors,
Okay, so, on 3-1B, we kind of start talking a little bit about this, where it says property management companies and holding companies are each required to have a business license. Do we want that to say registration?
yeah, we're gonna have registration
So
throughout.
everywhere, okay.
Hold on, I'm
Likewise,
gonna-
each property and or company,
one second, I'll come over to you.
business license as a property and or company, this is due to effect. Okay, yeah, I'm just like right here.
Okay, so I have a 907.
What's the
okay,
header?
that is the right.
It's
907, it's
Yeah,
on,
I'm on,
yeah.
907 amended draft 3724. Because that was the last time we worked on this, was March
know.
7th.
and it's 3-1,
Oh.
3-1-4 is what you're looking at?
Yeah,
3-1-4, okay.
Sorry, Rod, you can come sit by us too. Everyone can just come sit by us.
3-1-4.
I'm trying to,
So, real quick, I want to get what we just did in
Type 1.
963, so we can maybe just put, let's
Right.
start with 963,
okay,
and then we can put that down, and then come back to 907, because 907
okay,
that's.
has more than just STR stuff.
Okay.
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 Okay,
then
so,
over here,
Why did
I am in chapter
this is the number
2
available.
Yeah.
This
of
is the
title
number
3.
This type,
okay. Well,
Okay,
let
but
me
there's
just
only
open these up
84
instead of
correct.
looking at them.
out of 200.
There's introduction and purpose.
Where are you? You're in 963, right?
Are you on 907?
I'm in 907 and 963, because I'm making
Okay.
that change, making sure that that
I was
change
just,
in there
it's 208.
with the EI.
It's 208.
So 963, we're changing the title, correct?
So,
Mhm.
The First Amendment, yep.
okay.
No, I meant an ordinance of the city of
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Lodge
Mm-hmm.
is the same to regulate short-term
So
rentals
these numbers with.
within the city limits. Wasn't that exactly the same as what it was?
Yeah, to regulate,
I think it's just put in all caps.
It's just that it's in all caps,
yeah,
so it's the same, but all caps.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
If that's just.
The next change in there is
So this
the last whereas, or not last whereas, second
Next to the last.
Yep.
could be a shed in.
Land use and planning committee,
Okay.
reviewed all short-term rental advisory committee recommendations and determined some of those recommendations were appropriately addressed by
So there's no
ordinance.
change in there either.
Just basically bringing it back down to be consistent with the,
Which is,
acronyms. That's all
Okay.
it is.
Does that come out?
okay.
Okay,
So you're gonna use the
Because I know
acronyms
we
instead of
can't
spelling it out?
each time, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because each one of these has that
Right.
basically.
1980 census, 30% of the households were empty,
Let's see, so
Then you use the
section,
right terminology for now, therefore.
empty.
Yep.
Owned by people from outside. the
Then-
city.
We threw out section 1,
So this number.
and then
actually
section 2, or now the new section 1.
less than.
city shall adopt a written, good neighbor.
And we did that already, right?
Yeah, we did that.
Thank you, I'm like, we did that, right?
That being said, it has reference to a lot of these, so it hasn't actually been made available. But all of these documents were working together, so it's a nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're
Um,
getting rid of, and community norms,
Yes,
because
Yeah.
that is really odd.
yeah, and it's just, that's not our job. We're not here to,
Community
we're
norms.
not here to dictate community norms.
No.
So we kept it to laws and regulations. So when we did the good neighbor policy, that was specific to what we did. If it's not an ordinance, or if
Right.
it's not a law,
Right,
we didn't talk about it.
exactly.
Then we
So-
won't worry about the old section 3, now the new section 2, the city of Red Lodge hereby establishes a limit
That we utilize that.
Yes.
instead of threshold, I like that.
To the community.
Okay,
I always objected to threshold, it's like, just
Yeah.
say it like it is.
Yep,
yep,
Of total STR registration,
Used house doesn't wear out.
calculated as 20% of the total number of dwelling units in the city of Red Lodge is determined
Especially.
by
when
the county determines the
Long-term
number of,
rentals.
mhm.
residential units, yes.
okay? The limit will be calculated by Red Lodge city staff
Having
And it's-
annually in June.
argument.
And it's not really in June, it's more September,
Renters
because we do not get it,
back together,
We don't get the numbers quick enough.
right.
leave.
Should we change that to September instead of June?
Or just say annually as soon as available, I like.
How about annually?
No, I think it's good to have a deadline for us, so then that
Okay.
way we're pushing.
But it's definitely more closer, like
To
September. It,
How about
we do
we
not
do
get it.
annually after
What was the number,
registrations are due,
218, what was it last year?
applications are due?
Or two?
Right,
Because there are some extensions.
Yeah, so we have until September to get all the applications.
So annually after registrations are due?
Applications are
Have
due.
last year's number in
renewal application, or just
there.
because
Just
it's
applications.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it business registration
yeah.
applications,
Yeah,
or?
so after business,
And then the waiting list to facilitate new registrations
Especially with the new
when
tax.
existing registrations are either terminated or expire or not renewed.
Even if it's a short term.
Yeah, I think that we need that.
Versus,
Yeah.
yeah. Because nobody knows what that financial impact is.
Okay,
And then it goes to section 3, STR registrations will be defined by use and operation. And the ordinance,
So it's had an effect on our hotels.
907,
Yeah.
following registration is determined exempt. from the limits,
okay,
not being included against the owner,
okay, on-site,
on-site managed short.
see, and this is where, even though that gal you're talking about is on-site, lives there, it's still not
It's
going
not
to
the
exempt, it's not gonna exempt them because the change we're making is on-site managed.
yeah,
Right.
And she is not the manager for those.
yeah. It would be like if the Chateau did hire somebody, or like had a front desk, where that is manned 24/7, there's 24/7 coverage, like, similar to a hotel.
Similar to someone renting out their rooms in their home.
Right.
And that's the whole point.
Right. Well, and it's also, for example, if you have like the Alpine they're planning on having an on-site property manager available to manage those units if people but that person would have to be there 24/7 to
Yeah,
qualify for
basically, you would
this.
have to have a hired employee that is
This,
not just on call, but
but on
there.
there, yeah.
And we have to be careful about calling it 24/7, because nobody's there 24/7, they go to
Well,
the market. they
no,
go-
no, no,
This is
no,
what
no,
we're
no.
saying, is
No,
that
it has
that's
to
two different
be.
things.
Yeah, I
Right.
understand.
So it's like a hotel
One is-
motel, you have someone at that desk 24 hours a day. So you would have to have if you want to be exempt, you have to have someone,
But that would mean that,
you or an employee there 24 hours a day.
Yep.
and we discussed this way early in this thing, is that someone who's renting out rooms in their house, that means that they can't go to the market, they can't.
No,
go to
and
the-
that's different, that's owner,
Two different things.
that's owner occupied short term.
Yep. So there's
Okay.
two different ones.
Okay,
Okay.
owner occupied as opposed.
And then,
But there
or,
isn't.
yeah, they're right there, owner, in section 3.
I thought that we had.
They will not be included against the short-term rental limit if it's owner-occupied short-term rental, so you're just renting out a room
Right,
in your house or in your back, whatever, in your backyard, or an on-site managed short-term rental. That would be that could be an employee.
it would have been Chateau Rouge.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, that's what we created this for.
Okay,
But
Was-
I'm not opposed to keeping it in there.
Yep.
So if someone, like if the Alpine
Alpine
Basin
Basin has
the-
an on-site manager.
manager, and they're
But they're
there,
not there 24/7.
no, they have to be there 24/7 to qualify, to not count against the cap.
Yep.
Oh, to not count.
Right.
Mhm, exactly. To
I mean,
be
it's
exempt.
pretty
so we have-
high
we-
standards to not count against the cap.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
that- so
Yeah.
nobody else qualifies, basically.
Right,
Okay.
And if,
not, but if,
so in that way, if you have built an entire business model based around having a short-term rental, so if it was Alpine Basin and they wanted all of those to be rentals, but each one of those are individually owned, then it wouldn't be a hotel motel. This is a way for them to be able to keep that business model alive, but also having to adhere to very strict standards to do it.
But they would never qualify for the on-site 24/7.
Unless
Well,
they
they could-
hired somebody to be
Three
there.
shifts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and that's, but if
Unlikely.
we hit the cap and they want to continue that model, that's how,
That's what they would have to do.
that's what they would have to
Yeah.
do. So they can't sue us and say we're shutting down their business model.
Right, or like, for instance, before Chateau Rouge changed, and again, this is where the big, factor was, that is literally, was in their bylaws to where they couldn't be there more than 2 weeks of the year.
Right.
So if each one of those was qualifying as an individual and they were a part of the cap, all of a sudden they get booted out, you have a vacant place for,
This is what
it
you
just
have to
wouldn't
do.
track at all.
Yeah.
This is
Right,
what you would
and
have to do to make this.
Isn't there also like Aspen Townhomes is something similar, or it was anyway?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I think they've changed theirs too now where they're actually renting out long-term.
Mhm. Yep.
So, but they would be another case where people are basically, it's a timeshare type situation.
Mhm.
So if we don't want those to count, if they don't want to count against the cap, then they have to have a 24-hour on-site person.
Yep.
It just gives those people with that type of business model an
Another option.
option,
Yeah.
so that they don't have to completely go out of business.
Yeah.
Or,
And again, it doesn't create a liability for the city.
right, and it's a very stringent,
Yeah.
this is the way it is, so.
And it's with the intent of public health and safety, you are exempt because in principle, or in theory, you should have a safer and more, a better
Reactive.
managed.
Right.
Yeah, you will be less of a burden and you will be a safer location
Right.
because you have an active on-site 24-hour.
Who can, hopefully they will call
Yep.
you first before they call,
Yep, you'll have
You know,
someone to be able to
right.
respond to issues immediately
Right.
versus
Just like
like
in
getting a call from a
Within
neighbor.
24 hours
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah.
It'll be less of a nuisance property.
And then, the temporary,
You don't have a lot of nuisance property.
I know.
All those damn long-term,
I know.
Yeah.
they've been a,
So, and then,
they've had a thorn in
the third one that we had included in that was the temporary short-term rental, where if you're living in your house and you just want to leave for, the 4th of July or Beartooth Rally and just want to rent out your property for the weekend,
Is there
That-
a definition for
There
temporary?
is. So each of these are defined now in 907.
Okay, good.
So what we have defined in 907 is your general short-term rental, professionally managed short-term rentals, owner occupied short-term rentals, on-site managed short-term rentals, and temporary short-term rentals.
Okay.
All 5 of those are clearly defined. There's some redundancies because obviously there's gonna be some overlaps. But this way, when someone's coming to get a business registration, they can look right there, be like, I fit this.
Right.
And then when they're also filling out a registration, they put that
They know
check,
what it
so
is.
we know what each one is. And so that way, again, we have if we wanted to go back and change it to where no one is exempt from the cap, we could go back to 963, but these definitions are still in place.
Right.
It's not having to do both again.
Right.
So, yeah, that was the intent. And not that I'm saying we'll do that, but, and I'm okay with changing these around. This was just based off what I know from industry standards. So I did a fair amount of homework on this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And then also, like, for instance, in the professionally managed, this could be something for you to know. Any residential dwelling that is rented on behalf of the owner to the general public for transient occupancy of 30 days or less for compensation by a professionally licensed property manager, a person or company designated and registered with the city of Red Lodge and registered or licensed through the state of Montana to provide property management of one or more properties as regulated by section 3751. It literally quotes the MCA of what that licensing is.
Yeah.
So that helps, I think, substantially. One, make that more official
Very
versus like, I
official.
got a business card that says I'm a property manager versus like,
Yeah,
I have a license that says I'm a property manager and I still have to do my CE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is your license still active?
Yeah. It is still
You
active.
got 3 more
Hey,
days.
I got 3 days.
Three more days.
I just got my,
That's what I was gonna say, you
I just got
3
my
days.
insurance continuing done,
Yeah.
and it's due November 1st, because my birthday is in November.
Yep,
So, yeah.
ours is October 31st,
Yeah.
and so I just have 1 class to take on.
Oh,
No, no.
you're gonna take it online?
Yeah, and it's on taxes. Like, I don't have to do it. I could do the easy one of like, help a buyer find their dream home. And
I do ethics every year because
Like, no,
I
it's-
never can remember what year it is, so I just
I'm
take it every year.
I do, yeah.
And it's easy.
Yeah, that one would be really easy. I'm doing one on property taxes, which is gonna suck, but it'll be really useful.
So, are we
Okay.
good then
I think
with
we're-
963?
I'm good with with all 4 sections.
Okay, so now we just need to go to, we've got that review done, so then the 907,
Yep. And 907, again, this was redlined by me, Dennison, Danae, and Lonnie, I believe. So we have everybody's notes in here. Obviously, we should probably do a search for anything that says license and just confirm that it's
I know.
correct. So some of these are just grammar edits, some of them are format edits. But some of the big changes was obviously changing licenses to registrations. There was a definition for e-commerce. And then we went into temporary vendors as well. So a temporary vendor sponsor endorsement versus like the umbrella. So it's,
Mhm.
you can get an endorsement to essentially sponsor that temporary vendor. So that would be for like the Arts Guild or for Jody when she has folks in her shop.
Yeah, temporary vendors. yeah.
Farmers market. And
Right.
that was one thing we did too, is we removed, the nonprofit section of, that they're allowed to do the umbrella one, because it was only them prior. So now they would just get an endorsement, that's all it is. They're not losing that ability, but now we're making it to where other people also have that ability. And it's
Right.
not just Arts
And-
Guild and not just Farmers
And we did
Market.
change the resort tax to allow it as
Mhm.
well for the collection of the resort tax.
Yep.
So to go coincide with this,
Yep.
so,
So, there's a section, let's see, we added temporary vendor endorsement.
Right.
We added under 314, multiple businesses owned by the same individual, and then branch establishments and temporary business sponsors. So, basically saying that you still have to register for each business, is what I'm seeing here. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we changed
I
that
have
at
an
all.
appointment at 10:30.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll be done by then. If you guys are good staying a little longer since we're finally getting
Little
into
bit.
this.
Right?
I'm like,
We had it ready to roll, but,
we did. It's just we need to go over it and then we'll hopefully be able to put it up for discussion at the next meeting.
Yep.
That's a temporary
That's
vendor registration.
Branch establishments, let's see. Off-site warehousing, yeah, just a couple of minor tweaks to that. And then the temporary business sponsor is basically the same as, sponsoring businesses or umbrella, but with just a couple more.
So, I'm sorry, can we go back
Yeah.
to this temporary vendor? I don't know that you necessarily need to,
Oh, you're ahead of me, that's why.
oh, okay. I'm sorry,
I'm with
I
you.
was like, wait, I'm sorry, okay, I just, this whole, I just wanna talk about all the temporary vendor stuff at once, I guess.
Okay.
I think it's very hard to get an endorsement for each temporary vendor, like for the farmer's market or for the Arts Guild when they have, you know,
60.
60. I'm like, I don't think that necessarily needs to, it just seems like a lot, you know?
So what exactly, I'm trying to figure out, like, what exactly you're talking about right now.
Okay,
So for them to.
complete and submit an application for each temporary vendor for city approval.
Oh, I think that application would actually be,
For each temporary vendor, like.
I don't think it's gonna be a full application. I think it's gonna be like a one form, like, this is their contact info. So that way we know who you're operating for.
Okay, I'm just saying for, you know, the Arts Guild or for Farmers Market, they get,
You could give us a list of all the ones that are gonna be temporary vendors.
That's what I'm saying. There just gotta be some sort of record for who you're representing. So then that way, we're, you know, if it's someone's like, oh, I was at the farmer's market and they were remitting for me, and then farmer's market doesn't, like, we didn't know that we had them there, or whatever, like,
yeah.
I just think there should be some sort of physical
Well, and
record.
I don't know that the city actually needs to approve it,
No,
because we have that in there for city approval prior to business being conducted. I think you could, just when you submit the resort tax, you could submit that this is for these people on this date.
Yeah,
what do
they
you
could-
think, Lonnie?
So if they, like, when they submit their resort tax, they could put, like, the vendors that they are submitting on behalf.
But it's after the fact. I guess it's easier to do it for the business after the fact versus getting pre-approval for that
Yeah.
ahead of
so-
time.
Yeah, 'cause as
That's-
long as they're submitting for the vendors that
Okay,
they're supposed to,
Yeah.
I would.
I'm fine
think-
with that then.
Yeah,
Like,
and they don't even, I would just say, yeah, when they submit their resort tax, if we have a separate thing for them, like for the Arts Guild or for the Farmers Market, these are the businesses that I am submitting resort tax for.
Anybody that's umbrellaing or however
Right.
the wording you're using now, any temporary vendors need to probably submit, when they submit their resort tax, these are the vendors that.
Yep.
is
Because right
being-
now, that's not a thing. I just included it in my resort tax whenever
Sure.
I had a temporary vendor. It was just grouped, I actually increased my sales, and included it in my resort tax.
Yep.
So it would be, I'm not opposed to, like, after the fact, like, okay, we had these people, you know, farmer's market, this,
And they don't need to be like, here's the dollar amount for each.
okay.
vendor.
So you don't want it that itemized, but
No.
their
because
sales
they're-
are included in this resort tax.
Yeah, so these sales include from these vendors.
Okay, so yeah.
Would be totally fine.
And then I don't think it's gonna be as, yeah. 'cause-
So the sponsor is required.
Yeah, the sponsor is required to submit the resort tax and report it.
And then you have under D is responsible for any and all resort tax audits. Didn't we don't want them to audit their own resort tax.
but they're responsible for being audited. Like, if they're being audited, they're responsible for maintaining those records.
Right.
That's what that is.
We know that, no, it says responsible for any and all resort tax audits.
Yeah.
Asking them to audit themselves.
No,
Uh-uh.
it's just saying that you're not going to, the city's not gonna audit their temporary vendor, they're gonna audit the business, the sponsoring business.
Yeah.
So if we need to clean up that language to make that more
That
clear,
makes
that's what
yeah.
that's what it's saying.
is responsible for,
Any resort tax audits that may,
is responsible for complying
Would they have to come up with
with,
the sales that a particular vendor had?
Yes,
yep,
yes, so they're required to keep that in, those records.
Yep.
You know, for, what is it, how many years? We have it in the resort tax.
So each individual vendor has to submit a form to the sponsor
What,
to maintain
yeah,
for
or,
audit purposes.
or the business needs to write it down.
yeah,
and
they
keep
need
that.
to track that, however they
Sponsor.
choose. Like, if I were sponsoring, I would give someone a form, like, hey, track your
Yeah.
sales, this is how much.
Yeah.
Like, I would make them do it because,
Yeah, I don't
I'm not
do
doing
it, no,
but-
they just, they give me, they let me know what their sales were and they pay the resort tax to me, and then I would include it in my sales. But however, you know, for my records, however I keep that, you know, in my deal, because
Yeah.
I don't have,
so I put, is responsible for complying with the city for any and all resort tax audits. Does that work for you guys?
Yes.
That makes it,
Go.
yes, okay.
Works for me. And then I'm okay with, I do think that the the sponsor should apply for that sponsorship, that endorsement ahead of time. So that way we just know.
Well, and they can apply for it when they register,
Yeah,
right? Because they may have multiple ones
Yep.
throughout the year when they register their business. But also, I think on F here, is required to, all businesses conducted is at the physical location of the sponsor's business premises. That's not necessarily true, because the farmer's market does not own, you know, Lions Park.
they don't have a.
And the farmer's market does not own Lions Park. So I would say, or, leased or rented, or, you know, that, I don't know, it's just not, it's not always it's not their business premise all the time, I guess. So if you have, like, if we have Christmas stroll and we close off Main Street and we allow vendors up and down Broadway, you know, that's not our business premise. That would be,
Do we need,
that we've
do we need
actually,
F?
yeah, can we just remove that?
yeah, I'm good with that. I think what they were saying, well, hang on. The reason why we put that in there is we don't want a business sponsoring a food truck and have it parked, you know,
Right,
wherever the hell the
5
food truck,
miles away.
yeah, wherever the food truck wants to park. It has to be,
What do we care, as long as they collect the tax?
well, we do care, because if you, or,
Because they're also getting out of, like, if they're,
it's not in your care, custody, if it's
because
part
they're
of,
also not paying their registration fee.
right.
Like, this sponsoring business is keeping everybody from having to register
Sure.
for a one-time thing.
Right, because Danae doesn't want to keep track of all the temporary vendors. So I would say maybe that if it's part of an event, then it would be, then it could be off business premises, like, because the Arts Guild Fair is an event. Farmers Market is an event, or, you know, those are events.
How about, is that the physical location designated by the sponsoring business?
So all business conducted is at the physical location of the sponsoring business's operating location. So again, farmer's market is operating at Lions Park.
That's a designated area.
Yeah.
So you could say, all business conducted is at the physical location designated by the sponsoring business.
All business conducted is at the physical location of the sponsoring business's designated location. Or how is this? All business conducted is,
I would be okay with it saying, or an official, you know, event application through the city of Red Lodge. You know, I just don't want people, you know, coming in and saying, I'm going to, do a pop-up market, but I'm not gonna do it in front of your business, I'm gonna do it in front of another business downtown. I don't know,
Yeah,
so, I don't know, I just think it needs,
I know, I have to go.
okay, I know. We'll take up from here and discuss, think about that.
Yep.
How to make that work.
I figured it out.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Huh?
move to